Now, tonight, I want to share with you something that God has been placing on my heart for a long time. I want to share with you, this is a topic that has been very near and dear to my heart for a few years now. I read this book a couple years ago called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. Have you heard of it? It's by a guy named John Mark Comer. And The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, it is powerful. And then I picked up, a couple weeks ago, I picked up Garden City. And you might be like, what does that mean? Well, you're going to have to read it to find out. Garden City by John Mark Comer, it was, I feel like The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry was very pointed and focused on one particular spiritual practice, which is Sabbath. And if you've never heard of Sabbath, we're gonna unpack it a lot over the next few weeks, and I'm gonna give you a little bit more about that. But tonight, that's not what tonight is about, because Garden City, the book, was much more holistic. Sabbath is a spiritual practice, spiritual practice of learning how to rest and learning how to give up control, right? But in reality, you can have certain spiritual practices or disciplines in your life and still not necessarily have real rest. And so tonight, actually over the next few weeks, what we're going to do is we're going to break down what it means to have real rest. When I came on as the young adults pastor a few months ago, wow, has it been a few months already? Hello. I heard all over the place that people were feeling burnt out. People were feeling overwhelmed and burnt out. And I decided that the first series that we're going to do is going to be on rest. So I don't know if you came to prayer, pre-service prayer before we got started tonight. We have pre-service prayer at 6:30 every Thursday night. I would encourage you to come to it. It is a wonderful time to get our hearts straight and get realigned and refocused on where it needs to be. But there was already before I had even shared anything, before I could feel like there was the spirit of rest on the night tonight. And so I also believe that through worship, we can experience rest. And so I'm just so, I'm so excited. I'm so excited, you guys, for this series. We're gonna really dive into what real rest looks like, okay? So over the next few weeks, actually tonight what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down one particular scripture that we're going to kind of carry through the next month or so, okay? And then in the future, next week and the following weeks, we're going to actually break down what it means to have real rest practically and what that really can look like in your life, okay? So if you are here tonight, you better be here next week. And you better be here the week after that, because it is going to be fire. It is going to be so good. I feel like I've just got so much content that God has just kind of downloaded, and I'm still trying to parse through it all. It's just, I'm really, really excited to share some of these nuggets with you guys. So I would encourage you, commit to coming the next few weeks as we talk about real rest, and get your friends here. Okay? Get your friends here, because it's going to be powerful. I feel like one of our problems is that our culture is obsessed with hurry. I'm going to go ahead and just drop the mic and walk off with that one. Our culture is obsessed with hurry. Have you thought about this? It may not be spoken, but I kind of feel like there's this, you try to get on somebody's schedule and they're just so busy. They can be so busy. Hey, and I'm the first one to be guilty of this. So this is no condemnation towards anybody right now, but sometimes when we have this busyness, there can be a little tinge of pride attached to that. Like, I'm so busy, I'm so important. Everybody wants to hang out with me. I have a job. I have this and that thing that I do, and I just fill all my time. And I wonder if there can be a little bit of pride associated with that sometimes. I have experienced that. I've been there, I've done it myself, and I've experienced it. I don't know if you've noticed, but our country, Western society in general, is obsessed with more. More money, better car, newest phone, new promotion. I can see you guys looking around at each other right now. Did you get the new iPhone? The endless scroll.
Come on.
Do you guys remember when that wasn't a thing? It's been a little while now. Do you remember when the endless scroll was not a thing? When you actually got to the end of your Instagram. That was a thing.
Straight up.
More sex, more caffeine, more debt. More. Do you ever notice that the credit card companies will mail you these mailers, and they're like, congratulations, you qualify for $80,000 of our money, as if I've accomplished something. Okay, that's a totally different topic. Ads are everywhere. My wife and I were like just a couple of days ago complaining about how there's ads on streaming services now. I mean, I know they've been there for a while, but I feel like they're just getting longer and longer and longer, and you have to and there's no option to skip ads anymore on some of these platforms. I don't know if you've noticed this. Y'all, we ditched TV so we didn't have to look at ads anymore. I don't know if you remember that, but that was a thing too. Back when streaming services were like just getting going, it was like you pay a couple bucks a month and you don't have to see any ads. It's just all content. And that's where they got us. Digital marketing experts estimate that most Americans are exposed to around, are you ready for this? I don't know if you're ready for this. 4,000 to 10,000 ads every single day.
Wow.
And you may be like, that's not me. Think about it. Think about all the ads you see on your socials. Think about the ads that you see when you're driving down the road. Think about the ads that you see when you're watching whatever it is you're watching. TV, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, whatever it is, ads. 4,000 to 10,000 ads you see every single day. But that's just the experts. The entire goal of the marketing industry, you ever thought about this? You ever thought about the goal of the marketing industry? Check it out. To monetize your desires. To capitalize on your envy. To capitalize on your unrest. To make money on your restlessness. That's the goal. The whole goal of the marketing industry is to get you to buy what you don't have with money that you don't have. Right? Every ad that you see on a daily basis is designed to stoke the fire of desire within your belly, to make you want what you do not have. Our entire economy is built on people buying things they don't need with money they don't have.
Straight facts.
Am I all up in your business yet?
Come on.
So the question is, Are you allowing your desires to drive your ship? Are you allowing your desires to drive your life, to drive your car, so to speak? Desire itself can never fully be satisfied. I'm going to say it again. Desire itself can never fully be satisfied. Check this out. I was reading up on St. Thomas Aquinas. This is Aquinas, wow. You know what? It's funny. I even looked that up on YouTube to see how to say it today. Still butchered it. Nice. All right. So here's a little bit about what he was a 13th century church philosopher and scholar, and here's a little bit of what this article said about him. Even if all our worldly desires were satisfied, even if we were to experience every possible enjoyment, we would remain unhappy, since we would have a nagging feeling that something is missing. Today, Aquinas would point to the experience of many rich people and celebrities as evidence for this truth. Despite having every worldly good, fine foods, cars, houses, vacations, friends, family, many of them remain deeply unhappy, even spiraling into the misery of drugs and suicide. Aquinas would explain this as follows: when every enjoyment is felt, the soul begins to crave for something more than mere enjoyment. What is it that the ad industry is trying to get you to do? Have more enjoyment, right? Buy our thing. It'll satisfy what you deeply crave. Spoiler alert. No, it won't. We are constantly searching without success for the thing to fill the void, that feeling of never being satisfied, always longing for something, searching for something. This is the human condition. Desire is infinite, aka it will never be satisfied. It doesn't matter how much you gain, how much money you have, how many, it doesn't matter. It can never be fully satisfied. The end result is restlessness. Restlessness. And then you throw in digital technology in there, now we're screwed. It's not just the ads that make us want things, right? It's the curated, beautiful, perfect, fake life that people post that make you want what they have. It's not just the ads, y'all. It's more than that. Consequently, all we ever want is the weekend. All we ever want is the weekend. If I could just get to that vacation. I'm just powering through so I can get to that vacation. I'm just going to work for 30 years so I can retire and have a good life. Wait, so you're going to sacrifice 30 years of your life so that you can somehow have this ethereal idea of eternal vacation until you die? I mean, I think we might have our priorities a little mixed up here. And we wonder why anxiety and depression and ADHD and all these other mental illnesses are plaguing our generation. We wonder. The world's solution is to chase after every desire. Eat at every restaurant, sleep with whomever you want, try all the drugs, pour your heart into your career, make more money, buy every suggested item on Amazon, go into more debt so you can have the car that you really want. Get every stamp in your passport. Hey, I'm guilty. I am. Find a boyfriend or girlfriend and get married. Hey, that'll solve all your problems. Are you feeling uplifted yet? All right, here's the good news. Here's the gospel, which means good news. Are you ready for this? The Jesus way would say that the only way to satisfy your desire is to find your rest in the Lord. Put your desires in the proper place on God. St. Augustine said this, our heart is restless until we find our rest in thee. Until we find our rest in God. Jesus comes to offer you rest. If everything that we've just talked about, if the end result is restlessness and unrest, then what Jesus desires to give you is rest. He said this, maybe you've heard it before. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. What we're going to do tonight is a little different, okay? I'm going to break down, we're going to talk about Psalm 23. Ever heard of it? I hope so, because it's a good one. If identity is kind of like the message that God has placed on my heart for this generation, remember I preached identity a few weeks ago, and I don't know if you noticed, but Don Lynn the following week preached on identity. I don't know if maybe that's something we need to hear, but I'm just throwing it out there. If identity is my life message, then Psalm 23 is kind of like my and my wife's life chapter. And I was literally going through all of my content for this series and trying to figure out what is it that I'm going to share with you guys tonight. What am I going to start with? And I just there was a moment during noon prayer yesterday where the lady that was leading it, she asked us to meditate on Psalm 23. And it was right there that I knew exactly what I needed to preach on tonight, exactly what we needed to hear tonight. So, do something a little bit different here. I keep saying that, but here it is. We're going to annotate. Ooh, big word. Whew. I was a teacher in a former life. Yeah. So I'm really excited about this, you guys. I mean, I got all my technologies all ready to go, and I got my Apple Pencil. Okay, here we go. All right, here we go. The Lord is my shepherd. You know what? I'm going to read through it first, and then we're going to go back and we're going to break it down, okay? The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. You say forever? Forever. Okay, here we go. The Lord is my shepherd. I feel like as we start to break this down, this is a Psalm of David. And what was David when he was younger? A shepherd. So David really interestingly draws this comparison between God and a shepherd. okay? And he was very intimately, like he knew exactly what he was talking about when he talks about a shepherd with its sheep. He knew, okay? He was a very good shepherd, David was. I don't know if you remember, but he protected them from all kinds of stuff. There was bears and lions and, oh my. There's all kinds of stuff. Go back and read it. So he knows what he's talking about when he's saying he's talking about a shepherd, okay? So the Lord is my shepherd. So David is drawing this picture of God being a shepherd, tending his flock. David was a shepherd. We, therefore, are the flock. I am a sheep in this scenario. You are a sheep in this scenario. Say, bah. Perfect, you got it. Check it out. I shall not want. I have no need to desire what I don't have because the Lord is my shepherd. The Lord provides what I don't have. What I need, I just get from him. What is it that I really need? Is it a new car? I mean, yeah, we got to get around, right? Like but do you really need it for your soul? I'm just going to go a little deeper here. Do we really need the things that we think we need? Think about that. I have no reason to compare or wish that I had what other people have because God is my supply. When I rest in that, I am free from the slavery of comparison and jealousy. I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. I'm going to use green here. Whoo, green pastures. Oh, and then check this out also. He makes me lie down. Anybody else need the Lord to make you lie down sometimes? Sometimes I need the Lord, and he's really good at doing this. I don't know if you've noticed, but sometimes our bodies get so worn down and weary, and things start to happen. It starts to break down. Has this ever happened to anybody else? Like you get sick? And I don't necessarily want to draw the comparison to God making you lie down and that being like God is making you sick. I don't necessarily want to draw that comparison, but there are natural consequences to you not living the way that God designed you to. Okay? Why does he have to make me lie down? Because I won't do it myself. I'm too stubborn sometimes. He makes me rest in beautiful, restful places. Did you know that green represents balance? Nature, freshness, health. Guys, I'm not getting this. This isn't even coming from the Bible. This is coming from some other website I looked at. What does green symbolize? It symbolizes health, rest, harmony. Get this last one. Safety. He leads me beside still waters. Sometimes I'm not stubborn and I allow him to lead me to the places where I need to go. Sometimes he doesn't need to make me. Sometimes I actually listen. Sometimes I do trust him and I follow his leading and he doesn't have to make me. Still waters. You know what that means in the Hebrew? You know the other way that it can be interpreted? Waters of rest. Whoa. Waters of rest. And in another message in the future, we're going to break down Hebrews 4. So just a little teaser we're gonna break down Hebrews 4, and it starts to get into this other idea of what rest actually is, and it can actually be broken down into two different ways that it can be interpreted as rest, and it can be salvation, and spiritual rest. So salvation itself can be rest. Think about it. When you come into relationship with Jesus, your situations don't usually change, right? Your situations, what's going on in your life, what you're struggling with, those things don't typically change. Sometimes they can radically, but sometimes they also don't. And so rest, spiritual rest, when you come into relationship with Jesus, he walks with you. And there's rest in that. Sometimes he doesn't necessarily take every struggle away from you, right? But he wants to walk with you through that. He restores my soul. What is your soul? Anybody know how to define soul? Your mind, your will, and your emotions. Think about it. Your mind, my thoughts, my will, the things that I do, my emotions, my feelings. That's all encompassed in your soul. I mean, that's like, if you think about it, that's really who you truly are, right? Your spirit and your soul are very tied together and connected in this way, but your soul is what gives you personality, right? So we're talking about restoration for the soul, not just restoration for the body. My body needs rest, y'all, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk plenty about that. But before we even get to that, my soul needs rest. I can have all the rest in my body I want, but it doesn't matter if my soul doesn't have rest. God does the restoring. He restores my soul. He restores my soul. Not scrolling on Instagram or TikTok.
Come on.
You ever get home and you're like, oh, I'm so tired, and you just lay on your couch and you just... And sometimes, most of the time, it keeps you up too. I don't know if you've ever noticed that. Sometimes I'll fall asleep doing this, right? But sometimes I'll be laying in bed and it'll just hit my head, right? Nobody else? Like it falls and on your, okay. Scrolling on Instagram or TikTok does not restore your soul. Vegging out on Netflix does not restore your soul.
Come on.
It may be relaxing to you because you don't have to do anything. Y'all, I had so many students in my days of teaching that just didn't want to do anything that challenged them mentally, right? And so they just sit on their throne, on their phone. I almost said throne.
There you go. Yikes.
I mean, they probably were on their phone on the throne, but that's not what we're talking about. Wow. It may be relaxing to you because you don't have to do anything. You're just consuming content, right? But that's not soul restoration. Yeah. It may feel like, but it's really not. He leads me in paths of righteousness. Here's this word leads again. I've got all kinds of stuff going on over here. He leads me beside still waters, and he leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. I was reading a commentary about Psalm 23, and it said this: under his shepherding care, my spiritual condition is constantly refreshed by following his instructions for his glory and consistent with his plan. Oh, I thought that was so good. My spiritual condition is constantly refreshed by following his instructions for his glory and consistent with his plan. Righteousness, that's a big word, but really what it means is doing things God's way. He leads me in paths of righteousness. That is right living, doing things God's way. We're going to talk about, one of my messages coming up is going to be all about excellence and living the way that God designed you to live. Okay, so you be here for that one. It's going to be really, really good. Not because of me, but because it's all the Bible, right? It's going to be really good. For his name's sake. Can I just narrow in on this right here for a second? For his name's sake. Our right living brings him glory, which is, check it out, our very life purpose. If you came here tonight looking for what is my purpose, what is my calling, there's more to that, and we're going to talk about that even, but at its foundation, it is to glorify God. Your life, your body, your soul, your spirit, the whole purpose of you being created of other things is to glorify God for his name's sake. All right. Wow. Section 1, done. Section 2, you know this one. You've heard it before. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Oh, bro, I ain't even close to finished yet. No, I'm just kidding. Make me sound spiritual, Aslan. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, guess what, y'all? I'm gonna face tough stuff in my life. You're gonna face tough stuff in your life. Regardless, it's gonna happen, okay? Being a follower of Jesus does not mean that you just get all your problems taken away. I'm sorry. If that's what you were pitched when you gave your life to Christ, I'm sorry, but that's just not it. You're gonna have tough stuff. But when I have the Creator with me, I have everything I need. Oh. No evil can overcome me. Therefore, I don't have to fear it. Y'all don't have to fear evil. You don't have to. You may want to sometimes, and the enemy would have you fear him. But guess what? You don't have to. I shared that in my message like a month ago on identity. You have the authority because the Holy Spirit lives inside you, because God walks with you through the valley. Another interpretation is the valley of deep darkness. Even though I walk through the valley of deep darkness, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. When I do walk through tough stuff, he's always with me. He may not take it away, because guess what? He's not going to violate my free will or someone else's free will, unfortunately sometimes, or the consequences that come with that. But he is always, always, always walking with me. He brings me comfort in those situations. He brings me wisdom on how to walk through those situations. I could not imagine going through life without Jesus. Couldn't do it. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. David is painting this picture of God himself preparing food for me. Wait, that's not right. That can't be right. No, that's what it says. God prepares food for me. Did you know that Jesus, when he came back, he was resurrected. He died for your sins and my sins. He was resurrected. He came back to life. And you know what he did for the disciples? He made them breakfast.
Let's go.
Did you know that? This is not in my notes, but he made them breakfast. Peter and his buddies and the other disciples were in the boat fishing, because what else are you going to do when the guy that you've been following for 3 years, you've given your entire life to, you've just laid it all out for him, he dies. You go back to what you did before, apparently. That's what Peter did and a couple of the disciples. And then all of a sudden, Jesus is walking along the shore. And this is the first time that they see him. And they don't recognize him at first. But he's like, hey, throw your nets to the other side. And they're like, come on, bro. We've been doing this for a long time. We know what we're doing. Okay, thank you, but no thanks. And then they're like, whatever, like, we ain't been getting any fish all night anyway, so might as well. So they throw it over, and what happens? They can't even pull the net up because it's so full of fish. It's so full of fish. And that's when Peter realizes that it's Jesus on the shore. And so, I don't know if you guys realize this, but Peter had his coat off and he put it back on, and then he jumped in the water. He put his coat on and then he jumped in the water. And I picture that whole situation, like Peter is so just like crazy overjoyed and like, what is going on in this moment, that he just, all reason goes out the door. And he's like, you know what? I need my jacket, you guys. And then he jumps in the water. And I also kind of picture it like the other disciples are like, we could have just rowed in, bro. Like, we're going to get there at the same time as you anyway. And then he's like swimming and they're just like, okay. But Peter was just so excited. And when he got to the shore, when they all got to the shore, what did Jesus have for them? Breakfast. He was making fish over a fire for them. He was making fish. Man, you prepare a table before me. This is the picture of Jesus serving you and I. Do you know that he went down and down and down? He went down and down and down. Went from heaven to earth to serving people, washing people's feet, and then even deeper, he went into the grave, and then he went all the way to hell, took back the keys to hell, and then he went back up again, right? But this is the picture of Jesus, that he serves. He continually places himself lower and lower for our benefit. This is a reminder. You ready for this? This is a reminder that I'm not the one working. I'm not the one in control. It's like me just letting go of control. Anybody here ever host somebody in your home, but they make dinner for you? That's weird. So I don't know if anybody's ever done that before, but maybe you're over at a parent's house or a friend's house or something, and they're making you dinner, right? And there is an element of letting go of control. Think about it. You're trusting them not to burn the food, right? Like, this is not a I could do better situation. This is I trust you to not burn the food. If they're making chicken, I trust you it's going to be fully cooked and I'm not going to get sick after this, right? I trust you. I'm letting go of control. It's like, God, you're cooking that chicken all the way through, right? No pink? Because how often do we want to take control? How often, y'all, when we talk about real rest, we're talking about giving up control. We're talking about recognizing the fact that he can do way better than I ever could anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and give up control. I'm going to go ahead and trust him. He's a lot better at all the things that I ever was. This is me laying down my pride and letting go of control. That is real rest. In the presence of my enemies, I've got a whole thing here about the presence of my enemies, but in essence, it's like here it is. The goodness and care suggested by the prepared table is set right in the midst of the presence of my enemies. The host's care and concern, God in this case, the host, doesn't eliminate the presence of my enemies. So it's kind of like going back to even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, that's going to happen, right? I'm going to have hardship. I'm going to have things. But even though it doesn't eliminate the presence of my enemies, he enables the experience of God's goodness and bounty even in their midst. Okay, I'm going to roll through this here. You anoint my head with oil. Do you know that anointing with oil symbolizes setting something apart for God and dedicating it to him? You set me apart as holy. You dedicate me to your purposes, to right living or righteousness. Oh, and I tell you what, this is one of my favorite parts. My cup overflows. My cup overflows. I don't have to pour out of an empty cup for others if they already are getting my overflow. Isn't that what we want? Isn't that what we desire? For others not to suck the life out of us when we do things for them? I don't know if you've been there before. Then allow God to fill your cup to overflow. This is how you do that. This whole series is all about learning how to allow God to fill your cup to overflow. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Surely confidence, I know, surely I am confident in what this is saying. Surely I don't need to seek out goodness and mercy because they naturally follow me wherever I go when I live in righteousness in God's way. Get this, when God fills my cup to overflow, goodness and mercy and steadfast love will follow me. I don't have to go looking for it. It'll follow me. Say, follow me. It will. Do you see the fruits of hurry coming out of your life tonight? Fatigue, burnout, anger, anxiety, worn down immune systems, tension, confusion, emptiness, depression, stretched relationships. These are the fruits of hurry. Or do you see the fruits of the Spirit coming out of your life? Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Those don't sound like the fruits of hurry, do they? They don't. These are the fruits of overflow. I'm going to close tonight by reading Psalm 23 this is the Message version, which is Eugene Peterson's paraphrase of what he felt like this is the heart of God for this. I'm going to read this. Check it out. God, my shepherd, I don't need a thing. You have bedded me down in lush meadows. You find me quiet pools to drink from. True to your word, and let me catch my breath and send me in the right direction. Even when the way goes through Death Valley, I'm not afraid when you walk at my side. Your trusty shepherd's crook makes me feel secure. You serve me a 6-course dinner right in front of my enemies. You revive my drooping head. My cup brims with blessing. Your beauty and love chase after me every day of my life. I'm back home in the house of God for the rest of my life. Would you close your eyes and bow your heads?